Warm welcome. You're watching our continuous coverage on day 7 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. I'll soon be joined by my colleague Shiv, but let's cut across immediately right now to Yulia Bidenko, political analyst. She joins us from Kharkiv. Yulia, I hope you're well right now, because with what we are witnessing in Kharkiv, it does seem that Russia is doing all it can to make Kharkiv bend.
Yes, you totally are right, and that is awful situation in Kharkiv regarding they use missiles, they use aircrafts to bomb the city. They bomb in residential area, they bomb in administrative central square and buildings. The buildings, 2 buildings of Kharkiv University, where more than several thousand of Indian students are studying still, it is totally destroyed. So it is very dangerous in Kharkiv now, and people are afraid to go out of their shelters. Some of them spending like 6 or 7 days locked in their apartments without proper medicines, without proper feeding, and people get close to starving.
Yulia, how far away are you from where this damage is being seen? You know, the military the military academy that has been attacked, the police headquarters, that has been attacked by rocket shelling. How far away? You're in the city of Kharkiv where all this damage is being done.
Well, my mom is living near about a kilometer from the square where they damage regional administration and damage the buildings of Kharkiv University. I relocated at the moment a little bit far from the epicenters, but if yesterday there were some districts of Kharkiv more or less safe, now it is no safe districts or streets or buildings which could be treated as safe, because at first they actually tried to bomb all the military objects. Now they're bombing everything, including the squares, the quarters where only people are living.
Yulia, the news of Russian airborne troops landing and clashes breaking out on the streets, how much of truth is in that? Are you hearing of that as well?
Yes, well, actually, they try to do that because Kharkiv is very close to the Russian border. Actually, they even bombing us with the missiles from Belgorod, from the Russian territory. But there are some groups which try to break to the city center, but actually it is constant situation. They are not so numerous. And actually, Ukrainian army and national police in Kharkiv were very succeeded because locals help them. They making a video, they making photos, and they reporting to our army and to our police where these strangers are. So they're pretty successful in these street battles. The hottest situation, the most dangerous comes from air.
How much, Yulia, how much in terms of the citizens in Kharkiv, how much risk are they? Because now if you're saying and confirming to us that street fights have broken out, in terms of the citizenry, where Kharkiv is concerned, how much of risk are they at? Have you been able to speak to, other people, your friends, family around?
Part of my family is nearby, but as I mentioned before, my mom, she's staying at the very center of Kharkiv. I would also like to add that in some buildings there are no heating, no electricity at the moment, so people kind of locked in their apartments. A lot of Kharkivers.
Yulia, is there a sense that the city might fall to the Russian army? Because this is, Kharkiv is where the worst attacks are actually taking place. They've been non-stop from day one. Like you said, it's only 40 kilometers from the Russian border. There are clearly cruise missile attacks taking place from, from positions which are on the Russian side as well. There are also rocket and artillery attacks that are happening from the area between Kharkiv and the Russian border. Why do you think Kharkiv is such a main target for the invading force? And could the city fall very soon? Because that appears to be the case from the images we're seeing.
Yes, actually, they attack Kharkiv every 2 hours from air with missiles. But I think that it is very important point for Russia and for Ukraine both, because Kharkiv is the second largest city in Ukraine with more than a million and 100,000 of inhabitants. It is center of industry. And actually, I think also Kharkiv is punishing by Russians, because in 2014, where they tried to organize here People Republic like they did in Donbass, Kharkiv stayed very Ukrainian city. That is why, even despite that a lot of citizens of Kharkiv are Russian speaking, they have Russian blood, but still they punishing us and really try to destroy the city, because Russian army actually failed to invade the city and to occupy the city at the moment. So at the moment, Kharkiv is controlled by Ukraine, and actually all people here in Kharkiv, civilians, those who are volunteers, they are trying to act to be mutual, to provide mutual help, to mutual assist. So people do not want Russians here, and I think they understood that since they began this aggressive war, and that is why they tried to destroy Kharkiv at all.
If Kharkiv falls very soon, Yulia, is that likely to mean that President Putin is looking for his first big, symbolic victory in this invasion? Because we are currently on day 7 of this military operation, and he's under a lot of pressure as well, because, obviously he may have miscalculated or underestimated the amount of defense that has gone up against his forces. Maybe that's why this is happening with Kharkiv. He wants to be able to show that he's taken over Kharkiv, and Kyiv will be next.
Well, actually, I would say that he really miscalculated about Ukrainians, about the sentiments and identity of Kharkiv. Even the fact that he tried to attack on February 24, when all Russian people, they celebrate the Day of Red Army, but we are not celebrating it all in Ukraine. So people were more or less prepared. They counted that everybody will be sleeping after the celebration, after the drinking, but Ukrainians are not celebrate this day at all at the moment. So I think he did miscalculate, but I also want to provide my point. It is at the moment, it is uneasy to occupy Kharkiv. So they try to destroy the city, but I don't think it is okay. Kind of a victory. It Yulia, is not a victory at all.
All right. Yulia, you say it's still difficult to occupy the city. I want to ask you, how much is the citizen participation in the war where citizens of Kharkiv are concerned? Are there a lot of citizens right now participating in the war? Have they taken up arms as well?
Well, a lot of citizens try to be useful, for example, reporting when they see suspicious people, which could be Russian agents or Russian soldiers. Also, citizens try to help each other to provide some medicine, insulin, to provide some bread and share with the neighbors. So I would say that people are not in panic, but they are really suffer from this aggression. And I want to stress, maybe you would be my voice also, no international humanitarian organization are operating in the field, in Kharkiv. We can't see any humanitarian assistance from the international bodies.
It's very difficult, and Shiv will come in on this as well.
Yep.
Julia, it's been very difficult to actually reach Kharkiv. The Indian mission is trying to reach there to at least evacuate Indian students. Would you give us a little more, input, Julia? You say the complexes where Indian students are housed in, their universities are there, their apartments are alongside the university. That civilian stretch is being targeted. Am I correct? Is that what you said earlier?
Yes, and actually I want to inform that this night they also tried to bomb dormitories of Karazin University, where a lot of foreign students also staying at the moment. I want to remind you that Kharkiv actually is was the #1 destination for students from India.
Yeah.
We have about 20,000 of international foreign students, and more than 40% of them are Indian students who study medicine in the Kharkiv University.
Yulia,
so they are under the threat.
Yulia, you were talking about the Indian students who are there. You also very well know that one Indian student lost his life yesterday morning, tragically, in the Russian shelling that took place in the city that you're in right now, where all this damage is taking place. The Russian ambassador to India, the man who's going to become the Russian ambassador to India, has just, told us that Russia has received a request from India to see if safe passage can be provided to Indian students from Kharkiv, to go across 40 kilometers into Russia and then be brought back into India. Is that the Indian government feels that it's very difficult to send Indian students from Kharkiv towards the western borders of Ukraine, where the exit routes are? How do you see that?
Well, actually, from the one point of view, it's really kind of humanitarian disaster and crisis. Definitely, it is crisis on the western borders, because a lot of mommies with children, elderly people, they're all moving to Poland, Romania, and the European Union countries, and you need to overcome more than thousands of kilometers. So it is lack of fuel, it is lack of food, of provisions, of medicines when you get in to the western border. But actually, it's up to you whether you going to believe Russians, because they also promised the green corridor for humanitarian assistance. But at the moment, they are bombing everything that try to get closer to Kharkiv with humanitarian aid, with the food and meds.
But I want to ask you, Julia, in terms of supplies, when we had a fatality, the student in question was 21-year-old and he was looking out for supplies, and that is where the area was shelled and he was collateral damage. In terms of supplies, Julia, how worse has it gotten? Because already they were short in supply, water, medicine, food. How difficult is it to come by now?
Well, I try to gather all the information, because a lot of people, my colleagues from European Union, from the United States, from Canada, they all applied to me, how can we help? How can we provide that? My friends from France, they collected all the humanitarian aid, and now it is in Lviv. But we are seeking possibilities how to transmit, how to deliver it to Kharkiv, and it is very hard. In the city, there are some bread, and there are some, I would say, some meds are still available. But actually, yesterday, Russia bombed a hospital. So it is a huge problem how to provide even first medical assistance to those who were injured. It is very hard to recognize who died. So if you can address any pressure to Russians in the way of humanitarian assistance, please do that and try to save your students.
In terms of communication, Julia, there seems to be a concerted effort to block as much communication in terms of what is actually going on ground is concerned. We've seen that happen in Kyiv as well. How difficult is that? Because yes, you are connecting to us, but in terms of news, in terms of information blackout, do you see that happen in Kharkiv?
Well, actually, they try to bomb the TV center in Kyiv and to provide some disinformation. But actually, at the moment, we have internet connection, and all the mobile connection providers, they united and they try to be helpful. So I would say that unlike Russia, we haven't any sites, any messengers which are blocked or banned from our country. So a lot of people, they using internet resources to get information. And I want to say many thanks to your colleagues from Ukraine, Ukrainian journalists who are working all the day and night just to provide information to people.
Julia, appreciate you joining us. We're going to continue to come back to you. Be safe. We wish you strength,
Thank you.
fortitude.
Thank
We know
you.
your mother is in the main area. I hope you and your friends are safe, and thank you for giving us the information that you have. Appreciate you joining us, Julia. You know, Shiv, what is really worrying is with what Julia also stated, the areas where Indian students, their universities are, their dormitories are being bombed, is what at least the information Julia is giving us.
Absolutely. You know, the fact is that the students that we've been speaking to since yesterday have all been telling us that they're not very far from where this shelling and rocket fire is actually taking place, Preeti. I want to quickly show our viewers where exactly Kharkiv. This is a reminder of where Kharkiv is, because see, the geography is everything in this story. This is Kyiv right now. This is the capital where you're seeing most of the images from. And all the way, that's about 480 kilometers, this is where Kharkiv is. It's completely besieged. This particular area is 40 kilometers long between Kharkiv and the Russia border. All of this, of course, is Russia. The cruise missile attacks, Preeti, are apparently happening from the Russian side. It's a very short distance for cruise missiles. That's where it's actually happening. But you've also got a lot of tanks and a lot of troops who've besieged Kharkiv from all sides. So that's the reason why leaving Kharkiv right now is so difficult. There are also, you know, rocket units which are in this area between Kharkiv city and the Russian border that are actually conducting all that shelling. So this is a city that is besieged right now. It's very close to the Russian border, and therefore it's super difficult for anybody to actually leave. So as Yulia was saying, many people are trying to leave, but most people don't have a choice and they've decided to stay in the city.
We know that firsthand, don't we, Shiv? How many of Indian students were trying to leave Kharkiv? And as Shiv pointed out, it's a border city. It's facing the full force of the Russian assault right now. There's a siege going on. Will Kharkiv fall? Well, the political analyst who is Ukrainian says, well, not now. But with the visuals that we are beaming out to you, it's devastation is what we can tell you. In all of this, viewers, you know, what is ominous right now is that over 3,000 Indian students are stuck in Kharkiv as I speak. Earlier on, there is an effort right now, you know, to quote a cliche on a war footing by the Indian government to open a diplomatic safe channel through Russia, because Kharkiv is closer to Russia, where it borders Russia for about 40 kilometers. This is the only safe passage, if at all, that the Indian students would be able to use now at this juncture to actually get out. It's a request that has been sent through the Russian envoy. It's been accepted in terms of the request has been accepted. Will Russia actually provide that safe passage, that diplomatic channel for Indian students? We don't quite know, but there is a lot of diplomatic pressure being mounted at the back of that, considering that India has been neutral where the UN Security Council voting is concerned. So in terms of the kickback, it's a symbiotic relationship with Russia. We've lost a student yesterday, and now pressure being mounted by the Indian government to open that channel, because these students, over 3,000 of them, were extremely difficult for them to board a train. They're unable to board whatever few trains were leaving, or even make their way to the western border where the Operation Ganga is being conducted. All right. Meanwhile, India Today, the only channel still reporting live from Kyiv. My colleague Gaurav Sawant was at a checkpoint in Kyiv where locals are making, like I said, Molotov cocktails, bombs to protect their area.